Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Evans, and today we're going to be reviewing the case study of the transferred employee. Looking at today's agenda, I'm going to review the situation, explain what happened, and what I would do in this situation. Then I'm going to review about would I change the documents? What would I do in that situation? Then I'm going to talk about confronting the supervisor, and then I'm going to explain my decision and why I didn't choose any alternatives. Next, I'm going to explain my next course of action in this whole situation and what other actions I need to take. And then lastly, I'm going to explain the distributive justice theory to support my decision to make sure that this situation is resolved correctly. Reviewing the situation, this situation involves a company that has done some employee transfers. So a new employee is transferred to a new facility, and the new supervisor discovers that a yearly review has not been completed by the previous supervisor. So after approaching the boss, the new supervisor approaches their boss about this issue and asks them, "Hey, this new transfer employee has a annual review coming up. What do I need to do to make this right?" The boss says to the new supervisor, please change the date on the forms, the transfer forms, as if the new employee had just transferred to your facility yesterday. Um, the boss wants you to do this so that they don't get a negative reaction or any backlash from the human resources department, since this could cause them some headache to have to go back and do some things, retro pay, and we'll talk a little more about that later. So what would I do in a situation? First, I would tell my boss that I'm not comfortable changing the date or creating a new form that doesn't match the transfer date. This can lead to so many different things. This can lead to some seniority taken away from the new transfer employee if anybody looks back to see when they actually transferred to the new facility, or even some retro pay that they might be expecting back from the raise that they were to get um, from the annual review that was to be completed 2 months ago. So I would not be changing the date at this time. So I touched a little bit of this on the previous slide. Would I change the document? No, not at all. I would not change the document for a couple reasons. First of all, the biggest being that this annual review needs to be completed 2 months ago so that the person can receive their yearly raise. If I change the document to say that they're transferred to my facility and their annual raise needs to be done immediately, they're going to miss out on retro back pay. So previous the previous review that should the annual review that should have been done 2 months ago is now needs to be retro paid back to what that person was getting for what would have been on their next paycheck if the annual review would have been done 2 months ago. So this person's going to be missing out on money if I change the date. Second, seniority, time spent with the company. If I change the date, this could really affect their seniority with the company. And in the future, you don't know what the company is going to face. This could be things like layoffs or cutbacks. And if they do layoffs, a lot of times companies look at seniority. And if I change the start date by just as small as something as 2 months, this could affect the person's seniority and they could be laid off over someone else who may not have as much seniority over them. So ethically, it's not right for me to change the date so that I'm doing my best for this person. Confronting the supervisor. So would I confront the supervisor in this case? Yes, I would. And this supervisor from the beginning doesn't even sound like a good supervisor anyway, but I know that's how it is in the workplace. We have good supervisors and not so good supervisors. With this person, first of all, being annoyed by being challenged or confronted with questions or just not following through with what they say is more of a dictatorship than anything. So this is not a good supervisor to begin with. So I'm definitely confronting them and talking about how I don't feel comfortable. If we cannot come up with a reasonable in between plan of what to do, I'm going to explain to the supervisor that I've consulted with the legal services to let them know, hey, this is the situation that I don't feel comfortable with. Even though they've given me advice, I want them to know that this is documented so that if anything comes up in the future, if I'm fired or anything like that for not making a decision that I felt was unethical with the company, that I have a paper trail to take with me. Second, I'm going to be documenting these conversations after confronting the supervisor, emails, anytime we've met, going back, taking notes so that I have all my ducks in a row of what to do if we can't land on a middle ground of what to do that to make this problem um, to make this problem do the right thing to for this employee and to make this problem right. I'm going to take a minute to explain my decision on why I decided not to change the date in this situation. Right off the bat, this affects my morals and ethics as a person and as a healthcare provider. Um, I'm about doing the right thing. If we do the right thing, we have nothing to worry about. And sometimes doing the right thing is difficult. Confronting that supervisor would be so challenging. Even though I'm confident in this scenario right here, I know going into it I would be nervous and it would be tough. But I cannot have my morals and ethics challenged and sleep well at night if I don't make the right decision. I have guidelines and principles that I like to provide and stand by when I'm working with my employees, patients, and I'm not going to go against them, even if it means that doing the right thing is going to be tough. Doing the right thing is tough. So that's why sometimes you just got to do it. And like I said, confronting the supervisor and making the right decisions tough. Being a leader, you are not only just leading day-to-day routines, but you are leading your employees and you are a voice for them. So doing the right thing um, allows you to also get confidence from your employees, and they're going to work harder for you. This situation really resonates with me because I had a situation like this in my own work experience. I had my boss from the corporate office um, come to me and say, "Hey, all the patients in therapy need to be set at the highest reimbursement rate level. So they needed to receive the highest amount of minutes so that we would get the most money back from the Medicare or the managed care company. In the past, we were able to set those minutes based on what the patient was able to tolerate. So that's the guidelines I like to go by because somebody who is able to not able to get out of bed may not be able to withstand 75 minutes of therapy. They might be better for 30. However, the corporate office was asking me to set those at the highest minutes no matter what, and no matter what we had to do, get those therapy minutes so that we could recover and the most money from that payer. I then called my supervisor back because I knew this wasn't right. And I explained to her the situation. I documented everything, kept paper trails of emails and things. I even consulted a healthcare attorney. In this case was very easy because that's my wife who's a healthcare attorney. And thankfully, before I stepped down from the position, was about to step down from the position, the supervisor at the corporate office saw what I was saying and decided to let us go back to our old way of setting the amount of minutes based on what the patient could tolerate. Again, a very tough, challenging decision for me, and it was very not a fun time to be working. Reviewing my next course of action, other actions to take, I found it interesting that the supervisor in the situation who wanted me to change the dates on the form didn't really say much about the previous supervisor who needed to complete the annual review and how they really needed to be in on this. So I would explain to my boss that the previous leader needs to assist with this yearly review. Yes, I know that this person's been with me for 2 months, so I'm willing to offer my input on how they've been doing so far, but the previous leader needs to be doing this yearly review. I will not be changing the dates. We will be retroacting that back so that the person, like I said, gets retroactive pay from their time spent with the company. And I will be making sure that they get that pay. I will be meeting with HR to inform them of what is going on. And if I need to, I will also reach back out to legal counsel so that they are aware of the actions that need to be taken. What distributive justice theory really supports my way of thinking and decision here? It really has to go with utilitarianism. Just a quick overview of this. This is what utilitarianism is. This maximizes the happiness of the society. In the workplace, I am not out as a leader to make my employees constantly happy, but I am going to do what is right for them and stand up for them and be their voice. And in return, I feel that will give them happiness because they are feeling heard, they are feeling supported. Um, we need to do what's right for our employees to promote the happiness in the workplace. We're not going to be able to make them happy constantly, but in certain situations like this right here, where the person has not received their annual review, and this can affect their seniority. This can affect their pay. This is going to make them happy knowing that they have a leader who supports them and that they can turn to when tough decisions need to be made so that they can get the respect that they need in the workplace. Satisfied employees can be very huge for the workplace. This can lead to less turnover. Less turnover means you're not out looking for more employees to hire, which is very costly. This is a very expensive, um, expensive procedure for companies to find employees. So if they're happy, we're looking at less turnover. Happy employees increase productivity. If people are happy to come to work, they're going to be working harder. They're going to be having taken more pride in their work, and productivity is going to increase. And because of this, they're going to have better outcomes no matter what situation you're in. This could be a factory, this could be healthcare. If you have happy employees, they're going to be able to give better patient care. Patient satisfaction is going to go through the roof. You're going to have more people wanting to come to your facility because of the type of employees that you had. Overall, this can lead to reduced costs for companies because people are happy with the product, so they're coming to you more. So you need to spend less on marketing, you need to spend less on reaching out to try to get more people to come to your facility, or you're spending less on just trying to find new employees. So overall, focusing on the happiness of the employee is very important, and this can be done by little things, just doing your job by standing up for them, being their voice, and supporting them when needed.